Are you coming in Mexico? You need to know 5 annoying things that foreigners do in Mexico. Believe me, you know it. If you avoid those kinds of things, your perspective here in Mexico will be completely different. Hey guys, thank you for being here. Yes, today I bring maybe a controversy topic. I don't know what is your opinion about this point, but honestly, it's very important for you to know it because nowadays, the politics and the news create these kinds of wars between countries, yes, between foreigners, between Mexican, between American, between Canadian, between European, and between another kinds of countries, yes, about the certain disadvantages and situations about specific countries, yes, in this case, Mexico. However, unconsciously, foreigners bring those kinds of cultures or ideologies when they come to Mexico. Unconsciously, they do those kinds of things. But you need to understand something. Those kinds of things, if you don't change it, maybe you won't connect with Mexican people because Mexican people smell that behavior, that energy against them. Let me explain about it. First, overstaying tourist visa. You need to understand that Mexican government is completely tied in human rights. Yes, it's not easy for the immigration staff deportate people, deportate foreigners who sometimes they overstay their documents. Yes, it's completely normal that in Mexico the Mexican government doesn't invest in most human resources, more employees who working in this area. And it's completely different than another countries who they invest in these kinds of area. And when someone overstay their document, that area try to find them and deport them, becomes then in criminals. Yes, but here in Mexico doesn't exist that, doesn't apply that. Why? Because Mexico respect the human rights. But if you don't follow the rules in immigration law, of course, immigration office will maybe deport you, maybe return you at your home, or maybe support you in fix that immigration status. It's the duty for this institute, but when foreigners notice that in Mexico is not completely strict than another countries or their own countries, they take advantage in these kinds of situations. And however, a lot Mexican people complain that, claim that, because when any foreigners make a mistake or commit discriminate situation for anyone, for any Mexican people or for any Mexican culture, and they notice that that person were overstay in their documents, in their legal documents, and the Mexican government doesn't do it. Of course, Mexican people complete annoying about it. But you need to understand something. If you want to come to Mexico, if you want to live in a different countries than yours, you need to respect the rules. Because if you want to become that place in your home, because maybe you right now are resident or you will become in this resident here in my country. Okay, the most important for you is respect the rules. Overstay your documents means doesn't respect the culture. here in my country. The rules, the law, the Mexican law, and Mexican people complain about it. Number second, demanding everyone in Mexico to speak English. In Mexico, our official language is Spanish. But when you come in Mexico and you didn't know anything about Spanish, but you don't make that effort in learn this language because you always try to speak in English, you don't make efforts in say maybe basic words in Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muchas gracias. Por favor. When you don't use those kinds of words, but you always use your language, in this case English, Mexican people doesn't like these kinds of circumstance because when you are a resident and you always say I love Mexico, I love the culture, I love the people, but you don't make efforts in learn the language, it's completely contradictory. Yes, because if you want to involve in any culture in any country, the first priority in your case is learn the language. Yes, make the first in learn the language. You have maybe 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or you are resident and you have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe you need to make ambiguous effort if you want to connect with Mexican people. But when Mexican people know or understand that you are a resident and you didn't know anything in Spanish, of course, becomes annoying that situation because you always try to impose your language. Unfortunately, nowadays the news, the social media running quickly and give you the information. And when you see certain videos about, oh, look at this in this country, Mexican people were obligated to speak the language because they were speaking Spanish, and those people who are in that country discriminate them because they use their mother language, not that language about that country. And well, those kinds of news, when the Mexican people notice that in their country, those foreigners are here in Mexico, they speak that language, in this case, English, is no, it's unfair. Yes, it's unfair. When the Mexican people notice that you try to speak the language, that you use the language, Mexican people support you and understand you. They feel completely happy, completely friendly with you because you try to learn the language. When you hear people say, hola, mi nombre es John, como, these kinds of, maybe for Mexican people is weird, but when you are foreigners, Mexican people quickly understand these people, this person is not Mexican, but he tried to learn my language. This is a good person for me because that person make a force learn my language. And that is the point. If you want to come to Mexico and you didn't know anything about Spanish, don't feel sad if you don't speak Spanish. But here in Mexico, try to make a force in learn the language. Trying to make a force learn basic words. Say people gracias, por favor, when you request something, when you ask for something. Because believe me, those small details Mexican people appreciate. Hey, this is a little bit commercial. You want to learn Spanish? You try to find an interesting community for you. I recommend with you this academic. This academic is called Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy, created by Nate Tekoski. He has a very interesting YouTube channel who teach you about learn Spanish. In this academic, you are able to find a community. Yes, a long a lot of members who they want to learn Spanish like you. Okay, you can find a classroom. About those classroom has different level about courses. If you are beginner in Spanish, or maybe you are intermediate in Spanish or advanced, well, these academies have those courses for you. Another point, in this academic, the creator have different meeting online according the calendar, because you in this academy you are able to see the nets or the Zoom meeting online. Okay, take advantage in this academy if you want to learn Spanish. Yes, remember, if you want to involve in the Mexican culture, you need to learn Spanish. You need to speak Spanish. Yes, well, this academic maybe is for you. I'm gonna share with you the link below in the description. Number 3. Buy Mexican beachfront property and claim the beach is private. These things is complete annoying for Mexican people, because Mexican people love spend their time on the beach, swimming, or maybe watching the sunset, or any kinds of activities. But Mexican people love spend the time on the beach. Mexican people love make parties on the beach. Mexican people love the noise, love spend the time with the family, with the friends, with anything in that place. But when a foreigner limit the access on the beach, of course Mexican people hate it, becomes annoying that circumstance. And however, Mexican people will fight for that circumstance. They report you for the authority about, hey, this man or this woman, because provide this place. Beaches are public. Beaches is not private. You need to respect that. Mexican constitution, the Mexican law say that nobody, no matter what, if you are Mexican or foreigner, you don't have that permission to limit the access for anyone on the beach, because the beach are public. You have that alternative to contract federal concession, but the federal concession doesn't give you that power to close the beach, because the beach are public. But when foreigners don't respect those circumstances, of course, Mexican people fight for that circumstance. Number 4. Not respecting Mexican culture. This is completely related that the another points, because when you don't respect the rules, when you don't respect that Mexican people love make noise, Mexican people love make any ceremony who in those ceremonies imply make noise, and you trying to impose your culture, that maybe your culture is quiet, but well, you need to understand that any country have their own cultures, their own behaviors, habit, ideology, and anyone who try to live in another country need to understand that if in that place make noise, you need to use to in that country, because there are another option. You need to use to for that. Maybe you need to find certain alternative who reduce the noise, but don't complain in that circumstance. Don't make sue for a restaurant or for your neighbor because you don't tolerate the noise. Of course, Mexican law have certain rules for anyone who making a party. In certain hours, you need to reduce the noise. Yes, That is normal. Exist those rules here in Mexico. But no, because you don't like the noise means that always you need to impose your culture. Not because Mexican people love, decorate the street, the center, the downtown, their houses for that of the day or any kinds of ceremony. You hate it. You need to respect that. Number five, myth American belief about Mexico. Why I said American? American in this perspective about Hollywood movies. Because who knows, watch movies, series about Mexico. Share these kinds of message for cartels, for Mexican people are poor, for Mexican houses poor, for we don't have technology, we don't have maybe internet. Always we live in a desert place. Yes, always Mexican movies, sorry, always Hollywood movies share those kinds of circumstance. And when you come to Mexico and you have that perspective that Mexico is poor, and the Mexican people notice that you always say that, believe me, you will get annoying any Mexican because Mexico, of course, we have our problems. We have cartels and we have certain areas where the houses are poor, but it's not all Mexico. Mexico have beautiful places, beautiful and tourist places. Not always is corruption, not always is cartel. Mexican people are friendly by anyone. Mexican people live without scare. Okay, we have that sense about care ourselves, but doesn't mean that always we live scared. Mexican people always uh, love their life. Mexican people take advantages in their life. However, it's completely interesting when foreigners saw when and Mexican people living in bad moments because when the Mexican people live in bad moments, Mexican people their behavior is be positive, always smiling, always say everything is okay, everything is good. But inside them, of course, it's not that perspective. Yes, but Mexican people keep moving forward and follow the life, follow the target, follow that happiness in our life because we know our country living problems or have problems, but those problems don't limit our happiness. Try to break that perspective about Mexico is poor, Mexico is dangerous, Mexico doesn't have technology. Because believe me, when you know Mexico, you will know that Mexico have everything. Mexico have everything. Believe me, you will surprise about it. Okay guys, we reached in the end about this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe in this channel. Remember, thumbs up the bell. Please don't lose new videos in this channel. Before to leave, I'm gonna recommend with you this video because maybe you have that intention to come to Mexico and you want to hire an immigration facilitator. Well, in this video, I share with you certain points that you need to know before hire an immigration facilitator. Thank you so much. Nos vemos en la próxima.